What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and woke capitalism is apparently finally meeting its maker. Or, how do I say this more effectively? We've actually had a difference, and it's turned out that woke capitalism, companies feeling like they have to have a political take, has turned out to be, I know this is probably shocking, terrible for companies. That's right, because people don't have to necessarily agree or disagree with the politics. They have to be turned off, or to be turned off by a company. They can just not like a company pandering. Look, there are a lot of products I buy, Carhartt or Duluth Trading or Mova Globes or whoever it is. If I see a lot of overt virtue signaling, even if it's like something I agree with, I still tend to recoil from it. Now, I think it's fair to say that most super huge mega corporations are in fact picking one side of the aisle over the other, but I don't think that that necessarily always works. And it would appear that the data is in and it isn't working, because there's been some real consequences with this kind of woke capitalism. Let's take a look at this on MarketWatch. Big bank CEOs grilled by Congress on drop-in loans, diversity, and, quote, woke capitalism. The CEOs of some of America's largest banks will testify before Senate committee on Wednesday, at the House of Financial Services Committee Thursday, where they are expected to be challenged on a drop in lending over the past year, if efforts to fight systemic racism and defend themselves against accusations of, quote, woke capitalism, according to statements made by top lawmakers in both parties. Democrats have said that the decline over the past year in loan issuance to businesses and consumers is concerning. Well, hello, McFly. When you have your entire country shut down for a quarter of the year and half the country still shut down, you're having local businesses boarding up walls faster than new businesses can expand. Who is going to take a loan to expand their business when their tyrannical governor is taking by the whim of a choice, deciding whether or not they can sell their product to their customers? I mean, on what planet did you think that giving these governors this overreaching power to shut down entire states was going to be good for business? Oh, I mean, it's great for Amazon and Walmart and Meijer, which are all apparently essential, and employees that have to work at Menards are essential. But for the rest of Main Street, the people actually taking loans and injecting jobs into communities, it's been absolutely decimated. Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts told Bloomberg that one of the things I'd like to understand better is how these banks hold themselves out as working in the public interest. At the same time, they have millions of dollars for CEO bonuses and not enough for consumer lending. Now, I don't think that there's a huge case that they don't have the money to lend. I think that they're looking at it like anybody would and deciding that, boy, the risk right now doesn't really feel like worth it. It's likely that Democrats will seek to understand if the decline has been disproportionately affected disadvantaged communities, of course, because they need to virtue signal based on that, including those of color. Now, the other side of the aisle looks to Republicans, which will likely focus on, quote, woke capitalism, or what they claim is a trend in corporate America to put progressive social causes like fighting climate change and encouraging racial justice at the expense of profit making. Last month, former President Donald Trump called on his supporters to boycott J.P. Morgan. CEO Jamie Dimon slammed efforts by Republicans at the state level to increase voting restrictions. Now, we saw this with Major League Baseball idiotically moving their All-Star game from Atlanta, which is an overwhelmingly strong black community, to Colorado, which is pretty as white as the driven snow, we'll say, stick it to Republicans? Meanwhile, you left all those black-owned businesses high and dry. So super woke of you. Or you look at American Airlines or all these other idiotic companies, Hollywood pulling out of Georgia. They don't care about destroying. They say they care about the black community, but they're literally pulling jobs away from them to virtue signal for retweets on Twitter. You see, each of the six banks have made Each of the 6 banks have made commitments to align their lending portfolios to help achieve the Paris Climate Agreement goal for the global economy. Look, I don't have any say in whether or not a company wants to spend their profits on a particular, political ideology. I mean, that's their money, their choice. Get out of my face here, Colt's butt. But here we have, Shopify, which clearly took a hit. Major tech CEO speaks out against woke capitalism. Here's hoping more CEOs follow Shopify's lead and rediscover the fundamental morality of free market capitalism. It seems every day a new viral story crops up about a major company's latest woke initiative or major executive's latest politically charged stance, but in a refreshing twist, a top tech CEO just stood up for good old-fashioned profit-focused business and spoke out against woke capitalism. Business Insider reports that the CEO of the e-commerce platform Shopify recently sent a letter to the entire staff reasserting the company's commitment to competitive enterprise and rejecting calls for it to embrace social activism. In an age when woke politics are increasingly infecting corporate America, he wanted to remind everyone that we are a business and, most importantly, a hugely ambitious one. We are trying to create a world-class product that gives superpowers to the merchants that we are obsessed over. Everything Shopify does is to accomplish this, and everyone at Shopify should be able to describe how their job through a series of direct and indirect steps furthers that mission. Shopify, like any other for-profit company, is not a family, he continued. The very idea is preposterous. You are born into a family. You never choose it, and they can't unfamily you. The dangers of family thinking that are become incredibly hard to let poor performers go. Shopify is a team, not a family. We cannot solve every societal problem here. He warns. Shopify's worldview is well documented. We believe in liberal values and the equality of opportunity. Sometimes we see opportunities to help nudge these causes forward. We do this because it directly helps our business and our merchants and not because of some moralistic overreach. The CEO reiterated his comment to a meritocracy-based employment system driven by efficiency, not politics. I mean, who could have foreseen this? We will always have compassion for team members in truly difficult situations, but we need to remind everyone that, like every other competitive team, it matters how you show up every day and contribute to that team's success, he wrote. Beyond straight performance output, everyone that engages in endless Slack trolling, victimhood thinking, us versus them divisiveness, and zero-sum thinking must be seen for the threat that they are. They break teams. We want to build one of the best companies in the world, he concluded. We wanted to have a shot at bettering their lot through entrepreneurship. We succeed in our mission. Millions of merchants do better. Millions of people find employment. And we have an opportunity to make tens or even hundreds of millions in the future. Now, of course, if you remember Shopify, that name might be popping in your head. Well, they haven't exactly walked that line, as not that long ago, Shopify permanently banning Trump's official online stores. And this is after, the event that everyone likes to say was the super scariest thing that ever happened in this country. So Shopify isn't above getting involved. And I also think that we see a lot with Stripe. So what a lot of people don't understand is there's a very real and very scary monopoly when it comes to credit card processing and really online shopping. You're talking about maybe 3 to 5 companies, and all they have to do is send an email to 2 other people, and they can completely stop your ability to make money online. The CEO might have just intended to get his company back on the right track, but his poignant comments also squarely reveal that the problem of the newfangled woke capitalism. For one, profit-seeking enterprises, businesses are held accountable to consumers who vote with their wallets. This pushes them to accommodate society's desires and make improvements over time. But woke corporations focused on social justice aren't held accountable to anyone except angry Twitter mobs, generally unproductive and woefully underrepresentative of society at large, making the point that I often talk about. Go to the pub, go outside and talk to actual people, and you'll find out that in general, Twitter is not representative of your average citizen in any country. It is a it's a hyperbole driven echo chamber of weirdos that have never punched a clock in their life. Who decides the definition of social responsibility? The problem of this approach is with its manifest. Now, he was right then and he's right now. When companies focus on the pursuit of profits in a free and competitive market in order to enrich themselves, they must fulfill customers' needs and create opportunities for others. In Shopify's case, as the CEO notes, they only make more profit by enabling more outside entrepreneurs to thrive and earn a living by using their app. Within its proper bounds, the pursuit of profit is in itself moral, not something to be shied away from. Here's hoping more woke CEOs follow Shopify's lead. This is via Brad Palumbo over at fee.org. There's more to this article that you can read. And yeah, I mean, it would appear that, sure, things are backfiring. And I will, you want to keep an eye, because maybe it's hip right now to say, oh, we're anti-cancel culture and this and that. But obviously, it's not more profitable for them to do this. Otherwise, they would just be doubling down, and you'd just love to see it. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.